Welcome back to Nunchaku class. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with an outward figure 8, and what I want you to do is, I call it grip climbing. So if you look at my hand, look, I'm in a short grip, and I go to a long grip. I go back and forth. So I want you to go ahead and practice doing this with me. We're doing an outward figure 8, and we're going from one grip to another just by climbing it up. I use my thumb kind of to reach and pull, and then as I'm going back away from it, I kind of use the weight of the nunchuck to pull it out of my hand slightly. So don't open your hand up too much though, or else it's just going to fly right out, and you don't want to do that. All right, go ahead and switch sides. I'm going to do the same thing with our outward figure 8 with our other hand. So the reason why this is a really good drill is whenever you're doing, say, just changeovers, you're changing sides, front switches, whatever it is that you're changing arms, sometimes you land in a grip that you don't want. So maybe you land in a long grip or a short grip or whatever, but you need to be able to change while still moving the nunchuck into the grip that is preferable, whichever one you want in order to set up your next technique. So we kind of need an ability to slide around on the chuck while it's still in motion. Let's go ahead and switch sides. And now we're going to do this with an inward figure 8. Notice your forearm muscles might be getting a little bit tired from doing this. Just having to work those fingers can get it tired. Go ahead and switch sides. Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a pretty difficult little drill. So I have a line here on the floor. I don't know how well you can see it, but I can see it pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by spinning it, and I'm trying to keep it going the same direction as the line. So I'm trying to have my circle right here on the line. And now, for the hard part, is I'm going to try to maintain that where it's still over that line while I move around, and then when I get on the other side, I have to switch. So it's kind of like a figure 8 as I'm doing that switch. The stick's on one side, and now it's on the other side. And so I'm trying to keep going. It got a little off on me. So I want you to try to do this too. If you don't have a line on the ground, maybe you have something on the wall that can be used as your marker. And we just try to circle around it. Once you've gone around one way full time, go ahead and start walking back the other direction. You'll notice when you're changing sides, that can be a little bit tricky, so be careful with that. And try to keep it on that line, just how you started. Go ahead and switch sides. Oh, this is my bad side, so we'll see how well this one goes. Hopefully you're finding this a little bit difficult as well, but it is a good drill just for control. Just being able to walk around it and try to keep it in the same spot as the one that you're holding moves. It's a little bit difficult. Looks like I need to practice a little bit more with my left hand. I don't know about you guys, but I might have been lacking a little bit on my left side. And that's fine. It happens sometimes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into a long grip, just like this. And we're going to just pass it off to ourselves. In a straight line. Notice the one that I'm holding, I drop down and I do a circle. So from the side, it looks like this. This hand right here does this. Drops down and then brings it up. And we're catching it in a long grip. Just like this. Try to pick up some speed if you can. Just practicing changing our grips. Keep going, pick up the speed some more. Okay, go ahead and go into our middle grip. And what I want you doing is you can hold it in your right side or your left side. I'm going to have an inward circle on the outside, and I'm going to circle around just like this. I want you to do 2 circles and then bring it in front, inward figure 8, and as you do that, just go ahead and switch. Pop, boom. Just like we did with our grip. Try to catch it in the middle grip this time. And then drop it down. And I want you to do 2 circles. So that's 1 circle and 2 circles. And then bring it into the front. You can do an inward figure 8. And then whenever you feel ready, catch it. And go back again. 1 circle, 2 circles. Inward figure 8 and catch it. Back to the front. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and throw it up, catch it. If you want, as soon as you get here, you can do a few and then go into it, or you can just do 1, switch it, and go. However, that's up to you. Notice this time I'm only doing 1 circle, and then when I get down, I'm switching it. So I'm just trying to give you a bunch of little drills that you can practice. Something like this seems pretty simple, but the first time I did this, it was actually surprisingly difficult to just be able to move, even in the same direction. When you try to go the opposite direction though, it's going to be so much more difficult. So say, if I'm spinning it backwards and towards me, so it's an inside circle on the outside, and we've been doing it where I'm going the same direction as the circle. Now, if I go the opposite direction of the circle, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So you notice my circle's spinning that way, but my arm is going this way. So I'm going in the counter direction of the circle, and it makes it a lot more difficult to be able to go that direction. With a little bit more practice, you can do it, but if you want to make it harder, that's something that you can do. So we just did it with inward circle from the outside. So now we're going to do an outward circle from the outside. And we're still going to go with the circle. I was just explaining that that can make it harder for you when you feel more comfortable with this. But we're going to go with the circle again here. And then when you get here, go ahead and just hand it off to yourself. Trying to catch it like this don't worry about that. So as soon as we have our circle and we're in the center, we do our figure 8. Go ahead and just hand it off to yourself, and then go back around here, and then hand it off to yourself. I usually find it's easier to hand it off to yourself if the chuck is going towards the hand that's receiving. So if I'm going to hand it to this one, and I'm doing this, when the chuck is going this way towards the hand that's receiving, that usually makes it a little bit easier to hand it off. So let's keep going with the circles. Pass it off. Pass it off. Get your figure 8. Pass it. Keep going. You can do 1 circle. You can do 2 circles. It's up to you. Okay. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do what's called closing the chucks. So, we're going to do it from here, side swing, and close. Just like that. See how they closed? So we know our side swing, and we catch it under here. But now we're going to do a side swing, but instead of dropping the tip down and bringing it under my armpit and catching it, I'm just going to keep the tip up, and I'm going to bring it here. And I've dropped my hand down with it. The idea is if I can try to catch it completely silent, it's very difficult. If the chucks touch even just a little bit, you hear noises. So it's okay if they do make a little bit of noise. I want you to try to train for it to be quiet, and that's how you're going to be able to get it kind of quiet. It's always going to have a little bit of noise though, so don't worry about that. So go ahead and do this. Raise it up, side swing, catch. You can go ahead and front switch, side swing, catch. That way we can at least get around the same amount of practice on each arm. And catch. Up, catch. Simple up, front switch, side swing, capture. Or closing the chuck. If you want to be loud with it, sometimes you can practice and just try to make it loud by hitting them. That's fine too. I know I've done that a few times just to kind of get attention, just clack it. Either way. Now, what we're going to learn is we're going to go over our around the neck part 1. So go ahead and watch first. So around the neck part 1 looks like this. So we've learned around the back, which I did it from my side strike. I went to my around the back. Now from here, after I pass it off, I let go and I bring it right here all the way around the neck. Notice my arms cross and there's this X. I want this X. I've seen some people, especially when they first start learning, they try to do this, and they bring their forearm under their tricep to try to catch it. It's difficult. It gets in your way. Just like this. We don't need this arm raised up and trying to choke us out. We don't need that. Have just our forearms crossed. So I do my side strike around the neck here. Whichever hand is receiving the chuck. So I have it in my left hand. As I bring it around, my right hand's the one that's receiving. So my right hand, if you notice, my right forearm is on top. If I was to go the other direction, my left forearm is on top. So whichever hand is receiving the chuck, that's going to be the one on top. So we're just going to practice the round in the neck first, and then we'll go ahead and put it all together. So I want you to just go and put your arms out like this, cross them, and grab it. Here, remember the one receiving it is on top. Go ahead and bring them out and back. Out and back. Keep going. If you mess up just like that, don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to clip your own shoulder. You're going to hit just like that. Maybe on the other side, same thing, just like that. Don't worry about it. Try to keep it so that it goes over your shoulder, so that even if your other hand's not there, it's just going to do that. Don't worry about this, though. Don't be so, like, some people get so scared. Like, even if I hit myself on the shoulder, it really doesn't hurt too much, so long as this isn't close to me. If I'm out here and I spin fast, that hurts a little bit more. But if I bring this in close, I'm not really too worried. If it hits my shoulder, oh well. It doesn't really hurt. Even though I'm using wood nunchucks. You know, these nunchucks I'm using today are hickory nunchucks. It doesn't really hurt if we hit ourselves with that. So I want you to kind of take away that fear of it, because that's what most people kind of stops them, is the fear of it. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the whole combination now, which is called around the neck part 1. So we start up here. We do our side strike, bring it around, back around the neck, and then we capture it right underneath. And we're going to go ahead and lift it up with simple up, front switch. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. Around the neck, capture. Simple up, front switch, side strike, around the back, around the neck, under, up, switch, side strike, around the back, neck, under. Try to make sure to catch it under your armpit each time. So this whole combination is called around the neck part 1. Around the neck part 2 looks like this. So we go in between the legs and around the neck. So it's close, but instead of around the back first, it goes between the legs. Keep going. Just so you have an understanding of why it's called part 1. It's just a different beginning to it. Keep going with me. Keep practicing. Side strike around the back, around the neck. Capture under. Raise up. Switch. Side strike. Around the back, around the neck. Capture. Switch. So, again, that's called around the neck part 1. If you're still having trouble with just the around the neck part, you can keep going back to that one drill that we did earlier. It's a pretty good one to help you start to realize it. And then if you're having trouble with just bringing it up, you can start from back here and around the neck. Bring it back here, around the neck. Capture it, around the neck. That way you kind of get the feeling of raising it up as we do it instead of already keeping it here. You can raise it up. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to start just like this. I want you to step forward with your left foot, and so you cock it up to the right, throw a side strike, and capture it. So I want you to do this along with me. So I'll put my back to you at first. We're going to step forward with our left foot, cock it out, side strike, capture. Again, step, side strike, capture. Side strike, capture. We'll start here and under. Again, strike, under. We're trying to have a horizontal plane for our side strike. Cock it out, side strike, under. Side strike, under. Now let's go ahead and we're going to do the same thing with our other side. So we're going to step forward with our right foot as we cock it out with our left. Side strike, capture. Here, strike, capture. Cock it out, strike, capture. Strike, capture. now watch. And step forward, strike, and now as we do this, as we capture, we're going to turn and we're going to face the other direction. So watch again. Strike. My back foot, notice I was here, I was in a forward stance. I turn. And now as I turn, I have that capture. So again, I strike, I capture. Now I'm going to step forward and I lift it up with just the simple up. And I'm going to side swing and put my right foot back in front into a back stance, inward figure 8. So I'm going to turn my back so you can do this along with me. We're going to cock it out, step forward with the left, strike, capture. Step forward with the left again, and I do a simple up, side swing, under, right foot goes to the front, back stance, inward figure 8. I'm here. Step with the left, strike with the right, capture as I turn and I face 180 degrees. I raise up, down, inward figure 8. I'm going to show it from the front. Show it a little bit faster this time, so I'm going to step, strike, back, up. So that's about the pace that we want to do this one at. One more time, same pace. Strike, back, up. I'm going to do it with my back to you one more time. Go ahead and do it along with me. We can do it slower. So I'm going to step, cock, strike, capture, raise up, side swing, back foot goes in line. I'm in a back stance, and I'm doing my inward figure 8. So now, we did it on one side. We're going to do the same thing on our other side. So we're going to start here. We're going to step forward with our right, strike, capture. I'm facing the other direction as I did that capture. I step together as it comes up for the simple up, out, side swing. I turn, inward figure 8. Again, step with the right, strike with the left, turn, capture. Together, I do my simple up, I do my side swing, I turn, and I do an inward figure 8 block. Again, right foot steps, cock out, strike, here, simple up, side swing, back. Again, strike, back, up, down, in. One more time, step, right foot steps forward, side strike, capture it as I turn. Feet come together as it goes up, feet come out as it goes down, turn, inward figure 8. Now we're going to do that same thing with the right side again. Step forward with the left, strike, catch, together, through, in. So I want you to be a little bit more proficient right now. I'm going to go a little bit faster with it. Step, strike, back, together, out, inward. Again, strike, back, together, in, inward figure 8. Even faster. Ready, go. Good. So that's the first few moves of Blitz Kata. So from the front, it looks like this. So when we do Blitz Kata, it's going to start off and we're going to be doing the one where we strike with the right, step with the left. I just wanted to show you both sides because it's good to practice on both sides. So let's go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate it once real fast from the normal side from the front. So I'm going to step, strike, back, up, together, in, inward figure 8. And that is the opening sequence of Blitz Kata. So now what I want you to do is I want you to freestyle a little bit. So we know quite a few techniques at this point. We know side strike, front strike, simple up. We know our front switch, we know our side swing down, we know how to close the chucks. We can switch while doing a figure eight in our hands. We have circles that we can do. So there's quite a few different things that we can do. We learned today the around the neck part 1, using the around the back. So I want you to go ahead and just flow with it. You don't have to go too fast. Just kind of play around. Try not to stick all to the right side. Use your left side. If you can, use your left side a little bit more. But just play around with the nunchucks. We're going to freestyle for a little bit. This is probably, like I said before, one of the most effective ways of getting proficient with the nunchucks is just play around with it. And you can play around with it this way. So I'm going here, and I'm in my long grip, and now I'm going to be in my middle grip, another middle grip, and I go to a short grip. So you can change these things. You can play around with it however you want. Just keep going. You can do other things like a sideways figure eight. I know I haven't gone over that yet. It's a little bit more difficult, so don't worry about that if you can't get that today. Strike, around the neck. If you want to try it, you can go through the legs. Be careful. Try to add some movement in there with it. If you're able to attach and flow pretty well, it's going to make it a lot easier to use, especially when we get to more of a combat portion and we're striking things with it. You want to be able to move around as we're doing this. Just staying still and doing nunchucks is one thing, but being able to add footwork with it is a whole nother. So play around some, have a little bit of fun with it. All right, guys. So great job on that class. By all means, continue. Keep going, keep flowing. After this class is done, don't worry about that. Just keep playing around with it, connect all the techniques, and you'll get it in no time. Great job, you guys.